president at the recent Civil Rights Symposium at Austin, when your civil rights papers were opened, you made a lot of interesting statements, but one in particular I'd like to mention here now. You said,
I do not want to say that I've always seen this matter in terms of the special plight of the black man. As clearly as I came to see it in the course of my life and experience and responsibility.
How did you come to see it at some point? What was the moment of revelation?
I don't know that I can pinpoint a day or a time or an hour. I think that we're all the products of our environment. And here on the Pedernales, we did not grow up in any prejudiced atmosphere. This area is populated by Germans who immigrated here 100 years ago. We have few, if any, black citizens. Although when I was a child, 3 or 4 years old, I grew up with Mexican Americans and they were my playmates. But like most other citizens of this country, I took my own rights for granted, and I did not see and feel and was not as concerned with my fellow man as I later became as my service extended itself and as I became more acquainted with the problems of the land. When I was a young man, I taught in a Mexican-American school, and there I got my real deep first impressions of the prejudices that existed and the inequity of our school system between whites and browns. Later, I was an NYA administrator and dealt with the poverty groups. Many young people in the NYA were blacks and browns, and I saw the inequalities of our system then. Later, as a young congressman, when I was a candidate, and I would go campaigning in my district, when I finished my speech, all the people come through, shake hands with me. The whites would come through first, the blacks would stand aside waiting their turn, and I remember on occasion or two I was criticized severely for asking the blacks to come through and shake hands with them. They felt that I was extending to them a privilege that they shouldn't have. Very few were voting in Texas in those days because we had a poll tax that helped to disenfranchise them, and they were not encouraged to vote. But as they participated in the elections and I saw their problems and got to know them through my work and teaching and my early years in Congress, I think I gradually took on a different viewpoint. As Vice President, dealing with the cause of the minorities and trying to evaluate their problems and find a solution to them, no doubt gave me a breadth of understanding and vision I hadn't had before. And finally, when I became president and realized that I was the leader of the country and that I was the president of all the people, and all the people were looking to me to correct the inequalities and inequities and injustices, and there was something that I could do about it. I concluded that now that I have the power, I'm going to use it every way I could. And of course, most of my efforts that brought fruit were during the time when I had the power of the presidency behind me.
By 1937, you had been elected to Congress. Was it difficult for you to reconcile the problem of representing a constituency in Texas with the need, your new felt need to take a stand on civil rights?
First, I didn't have the power to do much about it as an individual congressman of 435, but I did not enthusiastically exercise the power I did have because, first of all, I couldn't have done much about it, and second of all, I was not aware of the extent of the overall injustices that was practiced upon them as a young congressman that I later realized as a leader of the nation in the Senate and as vice president and president.